What's good, YouTube? Tekken 7's coming out June 2nd, 2017, and I'm here to share my thoughts on it. For the most part, I know a lot of people are upset with the release date. Harada said, oh, the game's coming early 2017. June 2nd is definitely not early 2017. That is more of mid-late 2017 to summer 2017. It's not early in the slightest. But before you put a lot of the backlash on Harada, keep in mind, Harada is the producer, not the publisher for the game. He's the producer. I repeat, not the publisher. He doesn't have the final say. He did make a long tweet about a couple days earlier before the release date was announced saying no or something like that. Nobody really knew what he was hinting towards. A lot of people were thinking, oh, maybe it's about the release date. Maybe T7's gonna get pushed back, and it did. Harada wanted it to come out in March, but it came to June 2nd. Not what he wanted, but hey, it is what it is. But my main issue really isn't with the fact that it's coming out so late, although I am bummed out about that. It kind of sucks. It's not like the publisher would do this for a reason. Obviously, they had to have been behind schedule. Otherwise, the publisher would have probably released it earlier. Because if you actually check in mind, the big problem is the fact that T7 is dropping 2 weeks after Injustice 2 launches, which is pretty bad. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, Injustice 2, the game has nothing on Tekken. Tekken's a better fighting game. I love Tekken more than Injustice, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't interested in Injustice, and I did actually enjoy Injustice 1. But the main problem is that, you know, 2 big fighting games coming out within the same month, close to each other, is pretty bad. Considering the fact Injustice 2, love it or hate it, has a lot more buzz than Tekken 7. It has a lot more buzz. Like, you can go on YouTube, you can compare the views. Injustice 2, like, they're getting like 4 million to like 7 million views on videos. Like, just a 15-minute gameplay of Injustice 2 had over 7.2 million views. Now that's a pretty big buzz. Like, a lot of people are reacting to Injustice 2 trailers, a lot of stuff like that. Tekken's buzz is not as big as Injustice. It's just not as big. Now, I know people are going to say, oh, but Tag 2 actually sold more copies in its first 9 months compared to Injustice 1 did. Now, that is true, but you got to think about the fact that Injustice was a brand new LP. Tekken has been around for a long time. It's already been established as a franchise. It's nothing new, and everybody knows the first game is not going to be the main seller. The most sold Tekken game was Tekken 3. So, now that Injustice has its buzz up, it's been more established as a franchise, it has a sequel, there's a lot of buzz, people are reacting to it, it's getting a lot of publicity. It's gonna be a problem. It's gonna affect Tekken 7 sales. Like, let's face it, it's gonna affect the sales. It's coming out 2 weeks before Tekken. Now, casuals are the main. Casuals have the most power when it comes to fighting games, believe it or not. Because, let's be honest, most of the people that buy fighting games are not gonna be in depth with them. They're not gonna be that good at the game. They're pretty much gonna determine whether or not we see a sequel to that fighting game, or it just tanks, it flops. And it's going to be pretty much difficult for like new casuals, whether you're a straight up casual that doesn't know too much about a fighting game, or you know stuff but you just play casually and you don't really compete or really try to be that competitive. It's going to be hard playing 2 fighting games at once, and pretty much the casuals are going to normally climb towards the fighting game that's going to be easier to pick up, or what is ever just more fun to them. And let's be honest, Injustice 2 is going to be an easier game than Tekken 7. It's going to be easier to pick up, it's been more established, they have superheroes, for crying out loud. They got superheroes, they got a lot of buzz, everybody's talking about it. Mortal Kombat X, within the first 6 months, was the most sold was the best-selling game of 2015. And without a doubt, it's actually sold it's sold within its first 6 to 9 months, they sold over 5 million copies, which is pretty huge for a fighting game. Like, that's huge. So with Injustice 2 coming up and the buzz that it's getting, Ed Boon promoting it, everybody's talking about it, it's gonna affect Tekken. It's gonna affect the sales for Tekken 7. It's just how it is. So it really does suck that the publisher had to slate the game to be 2 weeks after Injustice 2. March would have been a way better release date for Tekken 7, but obviously, you know, obviously it didn't happen, which kind of sucks. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, T7 is whatever. I've been waiting 3 years for this game. I can wait a couple more. I want a finished game. I don't want a repeat of Street Fighter V. Now, what's crazy about that is, like, most people that say this are actually casuals to fighting games. They're actually casuals. They don't really understand what that really does to the competitive aspect if you do play the game competitive. An issue, and it's crazy that they're having a season pass, but I'll talk about that later, maybe another video. But the main issue is, like, Korea, I mean, T7's in esports right now, and if you don't really know the competitive history with Tekken, Korea and Japan have pretty much, mostly Korea, they've been bodying America pretty convincingly for years in Tekken. It's just how it goes. A lot of esports, Korea just dominates, and it comes down to the fact that Korea has had Tekken 7 for 3 years. In America, we don't have access to it. We haven't had the game as long. By the time America finally gets the game, Korea's got 3 years up on us, plus a couple more months, and it's gonna be hard to catch up. Like, Korea, they already know all the tech. They already know how to punish all the characters. They already know They already know what their tracking is weak to on what side. They know all of that. They have all the tech, and we're gonna be pretty much just catching up, which is gonna really hurt us when it comes to Evo and stuff like that. We're just not going to be able to compete as well as we should have been. When it's actually been proven that, if you don't know, shout out to Street Fighter V for being one of the only esports game in a long while that finally took home a win for America. If you don't know, Street Fighter V actually dropped. We actually got Street Fighter V the same day as Japan and Korea. We got it on the same day, day one. Everyone's on the same playing field. And guess what? America was actually able to win. We were able to win a Capcom Cup, proving that, you know, this is our game. This is America owns Street Fighter V. This is our game. Competitive-wise, this is our game. Now, I really feel like if we were on the same playing field for, like, Tekken, as, like, we had the game, we had much access to the game as Korea and Japan does. We had the game shipped out earlier. We had the game. We could really compete with Korea and Japan, but it's just not going to happen the way Tekken goes. We're always going to be late. We're always going to be the latecomers. We're always going to have to catch up. And it just really hurts the competitive aspect of the game that America's always playing catch-up, like we're the underdogs. And then if we get bodied by Korea, everyone's like, oh, America's free. Like, no, we're not free. It's just that they had the game for over 3 more years than us. Like, what do you want us to do? Not everyone has enough money to go and travel. And some of the people I know went up to Summer Jam and they didn't get to play T7. So, you know, they're still waiting for shit from Harada or anything like that, so it kind of sucks. Competitive-wise, not really good for us. Casual-wise, people are saying, oh, I want a finished game, but I'm going to be real with you. Most of the games you have at 2016, they're not really finished. Like, Final Fantasy, fastest-selling Final Fantasy game, but it wasn't even a finished game. But I'll talk about that later. Let me know what you think about T7. Let me know what you think about the release date. Do you think Injustice is going to hurt its sales? Like, let me know. I'm out.
Bullshit.